When the sun sets and silence takes over, few places seem as steeped in mystery as a cemetery. Among ancient tombstones, forgotten mausoleums, and shadowy corridors, cameras have already captured scenes that left even the most skeptical with chills. Unexplainable movements, voices recorded in the dark, figures that appear between graves and disappear seconds later. Coincidence? Optical illusion? Or something beyond our understanding? That's exactly what you're going to see here today. So go ahead and leave your like, click the subscribe button down below, and let's go. Reporter Sam Hessler was doing a live segment for a morning newscast directly from Green Ridge Cemetery in Saratoga County, New York, when a curious detail caught the attention of those watching from home. During the broadcast, while she spoke normally in front of the cameras, a viewer noticed something unusual in the background of the image, more precisely on the left side of the screen, between the headstones. According to the account and also the footage, a kind of shadowy shape or apparently translucent figure would have passed through the area, something that was noticed neither by the reporter nor by the technical crew at the time of recording. After the program aired, this viewer got in touch to alert them about what he had seen and suggested that Sam watch the recording closely. Upon reviewing the footage, many people began commenting on social media about the supposed apparition, raising hypotheses that it could be a paranormal phenomenon, especially because it is a historic cemetery known for local legends and curious stories. In the footage, it is possible to notice, indeed, a slightly lighter blot passing in the background, on the left side of the screen. However, despite the theory that it is something supernatural, experts and other viewers suggested more plausible explanations, such as lighting effects, shadows cast among the trees, or even distortions common in live broadcasts. A person decided to walk through an old cemetery that had already been abandoned and there found what they certainly did not want to see and probably did not even imagine they could find. At the site, some graves were open, with the mortal remains of the people who were buried there exposed. Skeleton, dental arch, everything thrown around and exposed to the open air inside and near the graves that were open. Seeing that unusual situation, the person began filming everything, and the footage shared by them on the internet quickly went viral, raising many doubts among internet users as to why the place was like that. There is not much concrete information, but what has been going around is that the cemetery is deactivated and that probably some thieves opened the graves of the deceased to try to find some valuable item or something like that, which some families bury along with the body. A man decided to thoroughly explore an abandoned cemetery, finding very unusual and frightening places. The video begins with the man entering the site and starting to explore every abandoned corner, with loose stones, dirt, vegetation already a bit more overgrown, showing that the place really had been abandoned, without the necessary care. He starts walking through the areas, visits the chapel, which also is not in good condition, until he reaches the entrance to an underground place that he ends up discovering to be a crypt, precisely because it is close to the chapel. A crypt is an underground chamber, generally beneath the chancel of a church, where priests, aristocrats, and members of the high clergy were buried. Upon entering the dark place, he finds what appear to be belongings and objects from the person who had been buried there, leaving a very mysterious air in the video. He also finds what appear to be mortal remains of whoever would have been buried there, and this mixture of parts of a skeleton with a dark and subterranean place makes this particular segment quite frightening and intriguing. The mother of a child identified as Sandra Gonzalez claimed to have seen her daughter's spirit, even after a good amount of time since her passing and, convinced of what she was saying, decided to share the images in which her daughter's spirit would supposedly be. The case quickly spread across social media and became news on several American TV newscasts. The little girl identified as Fabiola Rodriguez would have lost her life in 2018 after the mother's then boyfriend took her life, while the mother was not present. At first, the cause of the girl's death was not known, but quickly, after an investigation, the mother's boyfriend, identified as Lalo Castrillo, became the main suspect, until it was finally discovered that he was indeed the perpetrator of the crime. He was arrested and sentenced to 30 years in prison without the possibility of parole. Years after the daughter's death, some objects that were at the daughter's grave began to move or disappear, and, through the security camera, it was possible to see what would be a young girl handling the objects at the grave. Upon seeing the footage, the mother became convinced that it was her own daughter's spirit. The images worried those responsible for the cemetery. After all, the girl could be lost in the cemetery during the night. But, upon seeing the footage, both the mother and the grandmother got chills, became emotional, and assured that it would be little Fabiola. One last image would have shown her leaving with a tall man. According to the mother, it would be some angel taking her to heaven. Tesla cars are quite well known for all their technology and artificial intelligence. In addition to driving by themselves, they detect the presence of anyone who is approaching the car through the onboard computer, and precisely because of that, these videos made by their respective owners began to draw attention on the internet. In the footage, people who passed by some cemetery with their car driving inside the place showed the car's sensor starting to indicate some people approaching, but there was nobody there. Everything is filmed and it becomes quite clear, on the vehicle's onboard computer, people appearing as if they were there. But when the outside part is filmed, there is nobody. Many think that the car's sensor ended up detecting ghosts that were there near the vehicle, while others suggest some system error or even something planned and staged, precisely to go viral. A man was visiting a cemetery, recording everything on video, when, as he walked past some gravestones, he noticed the leaking of a strange liquid coming from inside one of them. A very dark liquid was running down the gravestone, probably coming from the body that was there, and, because he considered that disrespectful to whoever was there and even to the family, he decided to record it, exposing the situation on the internet, since the gravestone should have been being taken care of by the cemetery. From the drying of the liquid, the leak had been happening for a few days and, even so, nothing was done, even with a strong odor that was also spreading.
There obviously is some kind of a problem with their drainage system, but it appears to be blood mixed with embalming fluid.
After the video was shared and drew attention, the cemetery administration took action and the gravestone was cleaned. A few days later, the man returned to the place and made a video showing everything clean. The YouTuber known as Clean Girl is, in fact, Stacy Habecker, a content creator who gained notoriety on social media for posting videos cleaning public spaces for free, including beaches, bathrooms, and old graves. She became popular on social media, expanding her content to YouTube, where she posted a video that ended up generating immense repercussions. In the video, Stacy appears in a cemetery choosing an apparently abandoned gravestone and carrying out a complete cleaning, removing dirt, moss, and stains, while recording the entire process for her channel. The purpose, according to her, would be to restore the visual dignity of forgotten graves, but the initiative divided opinions. Part of the audience considered the attitude a kind gesture, arguing that she was taking care of a place that seemed neglected. However, many criticisms arose, mainly related to the lack of authorization from the deceased family and the possible intrusion into a space that, despite being public, carries strong emotional and symbolic value. Another point raised by experts and internet users was the use of cleaning products that can damage certain types of stone over time, which would turn a good intention into a historical preservation problem. Thus, the controversy did not revolve only around the action itself, but also around the ethics of turning graves into content for entertainment on social media. A man decided to go to a cemetery to tell and record the story of a grave, let's say, different from the usual, and the recording ended up going viral on the internet. In the video, he enters the cemetery and approaches the grave, which consists of a staircase that goes down into the underground burial pit, with belongings and toys that would have belonged to the person buried there. He explains that that grave would be of a little girl, and the mother reported that she was afraid of storms. Therefore, when she passed away, the mother, thinking of her daughter even after her departure, decided to make a grave that would reassure her about the storm she feared. That is why there is the staircase, with the grave hidden, where there was even a window that, over time, was closed. In the video, the man explains the details, shows everything, including the toys that were there, coming from tributes and from the mother, who decided to take all of her daughter's things to the place. A man was walking near a cemetery when he noticed a strange commotion coming from inside the place, and because of that he started filming. In the video, through the cemetery's protective fence, he tries to record what was happening inside and, near a grave, it really is possible to see a different kind of movement. However, when trying to zoom in and bring the footage closer to better film the alleged ghost, we see that the camera shows focus problems and even image issues. The man also mentions that he doesn't understand why that was happening, since the camera had never had trouble zooming in, only that time, raising theories that it would be intentional, in which the alleged ghost would be distorting and altering the blur precisely so as not to be recorded.
Look at how wicked and twisted it is. Wait, what's that? What's that right there? Get in focus, get in focus, get in focus. What is that?
The man tries more than once to pull back and zoom in on the image again, and every time the same thing happens. Obviously, this theory that it would be the ghost not wanting to be seen went viral and generated a certain repercussion. The episode involving Indian minister Satish Jarkiholi gained widespread attention in December 2014 when he spent an entire night at Vaikunth Dham, a cemetery that also serves as a crematorium, located in the city of Belagavi, in the state of Karnataka. At the time, Jarkiholi held the position of Minister of Special Taxes and decided to take part in the act accompanied by hundreds of supporters. The initiative was symbolic in nature and was organized with the aim of combating superstitions deeply rooted in local society, especially the belief that cemeteries and crematoriums are cursed places or bring bad luck to those who visit them at night. The event also marked the death anniversary of B.R. Ambedkar, an important jurist, social reformer, and the principal architect of India's constitution, and that is exactly why they gathered at the cemetery. The reaction was immediate in the Indian media. While some praised the initiative as a bold way to confront irrational beliefs and promote scientific thinking, others interpreted the act as a political strategy to draw attention and strengthen his public image. A tourist was visiting a cemetery when he decided to record his visit and captured what would be a ghost that appeared at the site quickly. In the video, he appears entering the cemetery, opening some doors, and when he arrives where the gravestones are, a figure that is almost translucent appears walking and disappearing from the screen quickly. At first, the man seems not to notice anything, but soon after he seems to feel something strange, even comments and films the supposed apparition, but ends up ignoring it shortly afterward, only to truly confirm it later after watching the footage again in slow motion. In the recording made in slow motion and with indicators of the supposed ghost's appearance, it is very clear that something really passed by there. Many theories raised indicate that it was indeed something supernatural, mainly because it is a cemetery. Others, more skeptical, believe it was a smudge on the lens or a reflection that could have caused the impression. A content creator decided to visit a cemetery said to be haunted at night to see if he could catch something, and what he recorded, without a doubt, traumatized him and, of course, scared people. He arrives at the cemetery already dark, at night, where there was no one. He walks around the place, films the sculpture of a child on one of the graves and, when least expected, he starts to hear some noises that resemble someone talking, more specifically a child's voice. He, curious and, at the same time, afraid, gets closer and, suddenly, a child appears in the background running between the tombstones, to his despair. Could it be the apparition of a haunting? That's what many believe.
This way. What the fuck was that?
What would be the ghost of a child appears running around the place and, soon after, disappears. The sound of laughter also echoes through the area, making the atmosphere even more tense. Police were called to a cemetery by people and even employees who were hearing a frightening sound coming from the place and, when they arrived there, they got quite a scare. The video shows a pair of police officers, in this case, a woman and a man, approaching the areas where the gravestones are, using flashlights and gradually entering the place, analyzing to see if they wouldn't find any threat. At a certain moment, during the course of the check, a piercing scream echoed throughout the entire place, immediately scaring the officers, who ran off.
Police officers were investigating an unusual disturbance at this graveyard.
As we can see, the scream really is scary, and a lot. After the video was shared, many began to say it was something fake precisely to draw attention. Other sources raised the hypothesis that it could be a Tasmanian devil, an animal that really can emit a very piercing sound that can become frightening. And, in yet another recording made in a cemetery during the early hours of the morning, a man was investigating a location with the help of a flashlight when a voice echoed, causing panic. The voice recorded in the video seems to whisper the words, "They're coming," which, of course, leaves the man not understanding anything. After all, only he should be there, leading one to believe that, yes, there was the presence of some ghost or spirit speaking and scaring him. Well, I wouldn't want to be in his shoes, and I believe you watching there wouldn't either.
Who's they?
Just as we saw earlier, this video was also shared and began to circulate on social media, dividing opinions about its veracity. Another famous case that became a cultural debate has to do with the band Ramones and the music video for the song Pet Sematary. The song was released in 1989 as part of the soundtrack of the film Pet Sematary, the English title of the classic horror Pet Sematary, based on Stephen King's novel, and became one of the band's biggest hits. The official music video was filmed in a real cemetery, Sleepy Hollow Cemetery, in the state of New York, and directed by Bill Fishman, with the band itself appearing among graves, with macabre cheerfulness, in addition to appearances by musician friends and figures from the punk and rock scene, creating an atmosphere that mixes humor and horror. This bold and unconventional setting for a rock video drew the attention of fans in the media, whether because of the choice of location, the aesthetic directly inspired by the film, or the punk energy involved in the recording. Over time, the video, like the song itself, came to be talked about not only by punk rock fans, but also by those who appreciate pop culture and horror culture, precisely because it brings together elements of music, cinema, and symbolism linked to cemeteries and the genre's imagery.